The Liver King. If you don't know who this guy is, I wouldn't blame you, because honestly, ever since he got exposed a couple years ago, he's kind of like faded out of existence, faded out of notoriety, right? And like I said, if you don't know who this man is, a couple years ago now, when he was at the peak of his notoriety and his fame, is that he would go online and make these absolutely ridiculous videos where he would be eating a lot of raw meat, a lot of liver, because his name is Liver King, and just eating very, like, exotically, I guess the best way to say it is. And he was ripped as hell. Like, this guy is insanely ripped, and he, for a long time, would say that if you ate like him, you would become like him, and he constantly denied of taking any steroids, right? And if you're someone like me who works out, you automatically know that this is just bullshit. Like when I saw him, I was like, I don't know why this guy's lying. He's denying that he's taking any steroids. It's so obvious. But a lot of people did fall for it, and it came out eventually that yes, no surprises to a lot of people, is that he is taking steroids. As a matter of fact, apparently, I think it was like $11,000 a month. No, sorry, not, yeah, $11K a month, I think it was, that he was spending on steroids, which is a lot of money to spend on steroids every single month. And ever since then, he's kind of just like faded out, right? He still has a bit of a platform online, but he's slightly just faded out. And it's kind of like started to come to light of why he did this. And a lot of the time it was to sell supplements. He has his own supplement line, which after you put two and two together, you're kind of like, no wonder why he lied about all this crap. But like I said, is that he's kind of faded out of existence a little bit, right? But in recent time, he's kind of been crashing out a lot on the internet, especially on his Instagram, because I think that's where he's like most active, is on his Instagram. And he has actually started to put threats towards some people, specifically towards Joe Rogan. And if you go on Liver King's Instagram, all these videos that I'm probably showing now over the screen over the last like few days, they're all towards Joe Rogan and him having this absolute schizophrenic like crash out.
Okay, real quick, PS. What I'm hoping is that you, Joe Rogan, are thinking, I'm gonna choke that motherfucker out, lights out, I'm gonna choke him out. And I kind of hope that if you win, that's how it happens, because like to wake up from that dream, that's a good feeling. And then anything else that you could break on me, break it on me. I hope that you won't feel me tap. That's never happening, tapping, because I have something actually to fight for. Actually, that's my family. I have a principle to fight for. That's what I'm, and oh, well, what if he actually does what he's saying? What if that would be interesting? That would be interesting. What do you have to fight for? You're fighting. I hope you're mad. You should choke me out. You know how to do that. You're trained. You're trained. You got a black belt. Black belt in jiu-jitsu.
And obviously I'm not going to show you every single one of these videos because we'd be here all goddamn day. But you're probably asking, like, Donnie, why is it that he's going at Joe Rogan for? Well, Joe Rogan, just like a lot of other people, like once Liver King got exposed, even before he got exposed, Joe Rogan, he's big into fitness. He has been for a long time now. He knew that Liver King was talking shit. He knew that he was taking steroids the whole time of when he was denying it, right? And Joe Rogan has constantly talked about him on his podcast and talked about how ridiculous he is, and even talked about him in recent times too, about him kind of, you know, becoming a bit of a schizophrenic.
Have you seen Liver King recently?
No, what's going on?
He seems like, I don't know, like borderline schizophrenic now.
Is that also, I think he was mentally ill, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I would have, listen, let me just classify my definition of mentally illness as someone who lies. I think it's a mental illness.
Okay. Yeah.
I think lying when it's really obvious.
Yeah.
You're lying about taking steroids when it's super obvious you're on steroids. Mm-hmm. You're 46 years old. You look like a fucking superhero. And you're right. You're just super jacked.
Yeah.
You know, and then gets caught. Just guys, juice to the tits. Obviously, for a guy like you or a guy like me, we look at a guy like that, like, you've got to be on the juice. You don't even look remotely normal.
This is what's led to like Liver King having a go, right? This beef, apparently, this has been going back for like a couple years. Ever since Liver King has gotten exposed, Joe Rogan has like called him out whenever for some reason, because you know, Joe Rogan talks about so many topics on his podcast, and obviously he's someone who's big in the fitness, and of course as someone as public as Liver King King was, and kind of still is, even though he's faded a lot on the internet, is that of course he's going to talk about him, and of course Joe Rogan's going to be as truthful as possible of when it comes to Liver King. But Liver King, like I said, wasn't happy about this, and he started to take these threats beyond, like he was legitimately putting out cryptic threats towards Joe Rogan. And you would think that it would stop there, that maybe he's just kind of losing it on the internet and that's it. This man actually decided to drive to Austin, Texas, because that's where Joe Rogan is located. That's where he lives, and also where his podcast is filmed. This man decided to drive down to Austin, Texas, and obviously the reason of why he was going to do that was because he wanted to fight Joe Rogan. This man decided to actually go through with his threats, and because of this, and because the state of Texas actually has a law against threatening someone, where I searched it up and it says under Texas law, it says yes, because I asked Google, is it like illegal and can you get arrested for threatening someone in Texas? And it says yes, uttering a threat towards someone, even if you don't intend to act upon it, can lead to legal repercussions. The Texas Penal Code mandates that you may face charges for a Class C misdemeanor called assault by threat. And you know what's even great about this situation is that I don't know who else is running the Liver King's Instagram page, right? But they decided to post the moment that Liver King got arrested.
Yeah. And these items are for you.
I wouldn't take that with me. That's for
This whole entire situation is kind of hilarious, right? Obviously it's bad, right? But I find it really funny. It's just, to me, this is like the stereotypical crash out that you see a lot of people who gain internet fame, right? You see a lot of people that gain internet fame. This is what happens a lot of the time. It's like a cycle. I've seen it happen so many times over the internet since I've since I started going on the internet as a young kid. You see this so many times, is that someone will gain fame on the internet, right? A lot of the time, it'll be rapid fame. It'll be rapid growth. Because Liver King, he went from like no one. Like this guy, I'm pretty sure was like rich, right? Beforehand. Because he has like a big house and all this stuff, even when he first started on social media. So this guy has some money, but internet fame and having money, two completely different things, right? So he went from like, no one on the internet, right? Rich guy off the internet, but no one on the internet. Then he got all this fame, right? And then something happens, and this happens with a lot of people. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be that they fuck up, something happens to them, or they just kind of like dip out of notoriety, right? No, everyone stops caring about them. No one cares about their content. Their content gets stale. Everyone stops watching them. One way or another, they fall off, whether to their own demeanor or someone else's or whatever it may be. And then after a while, after we stop hearing from them, there is a crash out. And they crash out hard to the point where they get arrested. This happens all the goddamn time. And now we are seeing it with this absolute fucking dickhead right here. And you know what? I'm glad that he got arrested. Thank fucking God. But besides him getting arrested, I don't know exactly what's going to happen going forward to him, because it does say that it mandates that you may face charges called assault by threat. So I don't think that he will like spend any jail time. He'll probably just get like a fine or whatever it may be, but I seriously doubt that he will have to face any jail time. He probably will have a restraining order put against him by Joe Rogan, and supposedly he did threaten some other people as well, so he might, they might put a restraining order against him, and then obviously if he breaks it, then he will probably spend jail time. So that's how I see things going forward, right? Is that he might have to just pay like a fine or whatever it may be. I don't really see him spending any jail time, but definitely a restraining order, because if I was Joe Rogan and this guy went as far to drive down to Austin, Texas to actually come and try to fight me, 100% I'm putting a restraining order against him. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about this whole entire situation down below. That's going to be it from me. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.